Welcome into Coach's Corner. Jordan Woodruff with you, and today we're joined by Coach Jacob Birnbaum. In today's episode, brought to you by Hurst Construction. And Coach, good to have you along. And it's kind of an interesting time because you're trying to kind of get prepped and ready to go for basketball season, which will be here officially in just about a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got a lot of our main returners that are still in football, but that being said, we've been trying to get everyone else up to speed, and it's been going real well. We had a really good preseason, so we like the direction things are moving.
One thing, you got the football guys, and a lot of your best talent is on the football field as well. One thing that I have talked to AJ and some others about is being in shape, and how basketball shape is so much different than football
definitely.
shape, and how hard it is to transition. And what do you do as a coach to try to help them transition? Because the conditioning part of it, basketball, you're running nonstop. Football, you get a little break here and there. Not the way with basketball.
Yeah, it's definitely a balance. I know conditioning is something in the preseason that our guys that are in the gym already that we've really focused on. We've been saying, we're either going to be the most disciplined team in the state or we're going to be the best conditioned team in the state. And it's kind of up to them each day to choose which path they want to take. But for the football guys, it's just trying to find the right balance between getting them back up to speed with our basketball skill work and all our sets and our defensive philosophies, but at the same time, making sure that we do help get them up to shape in the same type of shape that we need them in to be competitive.
Yeah, and it's going to be year two. And one thing that I will say, I know something you wanted to work on a lot was, you mentioned discipline just now.
Mm-hmm.
That was an issue, I think, last year. And it wasn't like the guys were bad guys. It was just the fact that they were on the court, they get a little chippy, get a little mouthy, and it result in technical fouls. And some of these can change the momentum of a ball game. So I know that's something you've been working with these guys on.
Absolutely. And in terms of discipline, it's discipline in our body language, in the way that we carry ourselves on the court, but also in just how we go about our business each day. It's, paying attention to those details in our plays, paying attention to the details in our defensive philosophies, our defensive techniques. Because when we get tired, we have that tendency to get a little bit lazy, and we don't keep those details. We don't pay attention to those details the same way. And for us as a team, it's very important for us to be successful that we do everything the right way. So it's not only discipline from like a behavior sort of sense, but discipline in that we're going to do things exactly the way they should be done every single time we have that opportunity.
One of my favorite lines is from Kelvin Sampson. One of his things is the non-negotiables. He says, if you don't do this, you're going to be on the bench. And do you have stuff like that, the non-negotiables with your guys?
Absolutely. Playing hard is one thing that if you're not going to come out and play hard, it's going to be difficult for us to put you on the floor. Defense is another one. Not everybody has elite lateral quickness or elite movement, but I believe defense, 70% of it is just, what you got in here, and you're willing to go out there and put your body on the line and sacrifice. So, playing hard and defense are two absolute non-negotiables for us. And then another one that we're starting to move towards is just positive body language. We want our guys to have positive body language. Your body language, is the biggest view of your mental toughness, in my opinion. So the more positive we can be with our body language, the more mentally tough we're going to be throughout the season.
Body language is something you've already brought up a couple of times. It's something I've seen as well. I've talked to you about it. And, it can be tough when the chips are down to have positive body language, but it's an infectious thing. Good body language is infectious. Bad body language is infectious. So, if you're doing that, you're almost shedding those emotions that those other teammates see right onto them.
Absolutely. And one thing we stress to our guys every day is that energy is contagious. So what kind of energy are you bringing to practice every day? Are you one of the guys that is going to uplift everybody? You're bringing positive energy. You're making sure guys are happy to be at practice. Or you can be one of the opposite. You can be an energy drainer. And those are we have a few guys that we're working on trying to help them just because, they don't know much better. But we're moving in that right direction. And just stress to those guys every day, like, be aware of your energy, be aware of your body language, because it'll spread, whether it's good or bad.
All right. Now, more to the basics of the team. There's no doubt you lost a lot of scoring, a lot with one guy from last year.
Absolutely.
And it's hard to tell right now because you haven't got those football guys over yet. But what do you see as far as this team being able to put points on the board? Last year, you kind of struggled sometimes to put points on the board, but you did have a dynamic score. This year, who do you feel is going to step in and be those scorers on this team?
So it's really going to be, attack by committee. We don't have one guy like we did last year where it's like we can put the ball in his hands and everyone get out of the way and let him go to work. But that being said, we're working on implementing a couple new offenses to give guys more opportunities to score. And another thing we really emphasize is just our defense. Like, we feel like with the personnel that we have a little bit more than last year, we can really, press and play pressure defense and play up tempo. And so we're stressing defense a lot more than offense at this point, just because we feel like our defense can lead us into some easier buckets offensively.
Well, that was the next thing I was going to get into was the defensive side of the ball, because offensively, not everybody's going to be able to shoot the ball lights out, and there's going to be days that doesn't go in the hole. But defensively can always be a consistent.
Yes, absolutely, and the kids are probably annoyed with us at this point, but defense is first thing we work on every single day. And, we almost didn't even work on any offense the first full week of official practice. It's all defense because, like you said, we don't have necessarily a primary scorer or anyone that, not saying we don't have some guys that have a little bit of pop offensively, but, we don't have that kid like we did last year that's going to go out and get you 25 every night. And we don't need our guys to be, So as long as we're locking in and doing what we can on the defensive end, we feel like the offense is going to end up taking care of itself most nights.
Yeah. All right. I think another big question for you is, you were an assistant, you saw how things were done, but last year's your first year. Now you're starting your second year. How much easier is it now starting your second year compared to what it was this time last year?
Yeah, I can't even put it into words how much easier it is, how much lower the stress level is. Like, we're still working really hard, but just to get that first year under my belt, my high school staff, we have all the high school staff returning, so I have a lot of trust with those guys. The kids that we had in the gym last year are kind of used to the way that we do things, so it's gone a lot smoother so far this season.
Yeah, and what people don't realize with the head coaching, as an assistant, you're dealing with a lot of the sports. The coach may assign something to you, but all the paperwork, the traveling, and the little things that are unseen, it's unreal, and it's really overwhelming until you experience it like you already have.
Yeah, it can be at times. I love the basketball part. If that's all I had to do, it would be cake. But there is some stuff behind the scenes, paperwork things. But having Coach Shellhorse, who has been a head coach, not here, but in plenty of other districts across the state. Having him was just a huge help for me and Coach Boone last year. We're a little bit of younger guys. We know the basketball end, but we're still getting used to, how to coach, how to teach the game, and his knowledge and his wisdom has just been, fantastic for us.
Well, and I think that's one of the things is most people that are around the sport know the game. That's something that's a given. Learning how to communicate, teach the game, do the little stuff right, that's the stuff that really separates the part, and that's the stuff you're still learning.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I do know the game pretty well, but I'm not, too proud to come up here and say I don't have more to learn as well. So I try to, soak in all the information that I can from Coach Shellhorse, from other coaches around the state, from, my college coaches whenever I get on the phone and talk to them, just constantly learning because I'm also trying to constantly evolve and get better as a coach.
And that will never change.
Absolutely.
So that's the thing. It's like you can be 60 one day coaching. That right there will probably never change. Yep. So, the season will be here before we know it. Let's talk, before we let you go, about the early part of the schedule, when you guys start. And I know you got a tournament in there, but it's a little lighter as far as the start. But when you guys get to like January and February, it's really the heart of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So our first game will be playing November 22nd. I believe that's the Friday before Thanksgiving. So we'll be at Bartlesville, and then the Tuesday after that Thanksgiving week, we'll have our first home game against PC West at home.
All right. Well, Best of luck.
So-
We'll get them working. And like I said, those football guys will be there in about a month, and it'll be a quick turnaround for them. And there's always, I think, a grace period that first month to get those guys back in basketball shape.
Absolutely, but the kids that have been in the gym, they've been working hard, and they're not ready for the football guys to come in and take any
That's
spots.
what I'm saying.
They're competing. They're like, nah, these guys aren't going to come in and take
like
my
that.
spot. So I'm looking forward to a great competition. Great competing for who's going to get those varsity spots.
That's great.
this year.
And those kids don't need to be. They're like, hey, you're not doing this. You got to come earn this.
Yeah, they're not taking a back seat to anybody. They're like, we've been in here, we've been working. You guys got to come in here and match our energy. So
I love it, and that's going to help them out too.
absolutely.
So, well, Coach, really appreciate it.
Thank you,
Jacob Birnbaum. I want to say thanks to Chris behind the camera. This episode of Coach's Corner has been brought to you by Hearst Construction. Jordan Woodruff saying until next time, go Cats.